Hello, once again, Reed Spring students. Mr. Lofton here. This is going to be the third article for the week that Miss Chastain pushed out through News ELA. I'm going to go through it with you, try to maybe help you with any unknown vocabulary and any of the questions that you're having issues with. This is going to talk about something that you guys were very familiar with a year ago, if I remember, which was Fortnite. But it's also one of my favorite things, baseball. So it's combining two of our favorite things, Fortnite and baseball. Um, Here is the article. It's called How the Video Game Fortnite Became Baseball's Most Addictive Pastime. This was written in May of 2018. And there is a picture of old Xander Bogaerts of the Boston Red Sox as he celebrates after hitting a double against the Tampa Bay Rays with the celebratory Take the L dance from the video game Fortnite. You guys are likely far more familiar with what that means than I am. I'm going to go ahead and start reading the article. Along with running, throwing, fielding, hitting, and hitting for power, there is another skill invaluable to baseball players beyond the five holy tools: killing time. From the days of train travel to the dawn of smartphones, the methods for managing downtime have evolved, and now, perhaps the ultimate force has emerged to connect ball players of all stripes: the game Fortnite. It is the open world co op survival video game, and it may eventually be a footnote within baseball's zeitgeist. Right now, however, it has a hold of the game that stretches from college dorms to the basements of minor league host families, to the clubhouses and private jets and luxury hotel rooms of the major leagues. Excuse me. I've never seen anything catch the public eye like this has, says Tampa Bay Rays first baseman C.J. Cron. Certainly, the marriage of ball players and video games is nothing new. Over the past 2 decades, online multiplayer games has turned series like FIFA and Madden and MLB The Show into competitions. Across town and around the world, friends gather online to compete. In Fortnite, there exists an irresistible concoction of action and evolution, teamwork, and competition. There is also a connection and camaraderie that no game seemed to match among its players. Just when I think I'm getting bored with it and I'm going to stop playing, I find that it keeps me going, says Phillies outfielder Nick Williams. There are times I'm like, okay, this is my last game of the night. And then I get second place and I'm like, no, I need to try again. And then 12 games later, I'm like, all right, this has got to be my last game. For the uninitiated, Fortnite can be played as a solo or as a duo in teams of 4. Each game begins with 100 competitors in a lobby. Each player is on a quest to acquire supplies and weapons to enhance their chance of survival. Teammates communicate via headsets. They launch missions to scavenge for supplies amid a post-apocalyptic landscape. They build traps and ultimately ward off and destroy a legion of zombies, all while shoring up a fort against the encroaching mob. Developers at Epic Games keep Fortnite fresh with updates, retiring certain features and then reviving them. The consistency create the game's map, but subtly tweaking features within it. These are all reasons why professional baseball players keep coming back to the video game. Minor leagues, major boon. Hagerstown, Maryland is just a 75-minute drive from Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. It is home to the Hagerstown Suns. They are a minor league baseball team. Many of the players are thousands of miles from home. Some are in a foreign country, bonded only by the fact that their big league dreams remain 4 daunting levels away. For them, Fortnite serves as more than a distraction from interminable bus rides, ever-present rain delays, and budget motel rooms. If you let baseball consume you too long, it can get overwhelming, says Nick Banks. He's a 23-year-old outfielder for the Suns and a fourth-round Nationals draft pick in 2016. The first thing I do after every game is go to my host's family's home in the basement and start playing. My roommates will watch TV and be like, dude, that's all you do? But it takes your mind off of baseball. When a clubhouse attendant brought a PlayStation 4 to the Suns clubhouse, the dynamic shifted about 70% of the team into Fortniters. When a gamer scores a win, the shouts of excitement often lure trainers and coaches out to watch. The quiet guys who don't say much, if they do well in a video game, they get a little louder. Their personality starts to come out, says Suns reliever AJ Bogucki. They're not sure how to act, but when they get excited, they might tell us a little bit more. That includes a quartet of foreign-born players. Venezuelan Tomas Alastre is 19 years old. He is in his first full season of ball. Aldream Corredor and Heiner Baez are also from Venezuela, along with Dominican Republic native Carlos Acevedo. They all have engaged in Fortnite. Chatting via Fortnite creates greater connection than a phone call or text among the players. When you're on the phone, you lose your train of thought of what else you might talk about. And then the conversation is over, says Bageki. Fortnite. Fortnite stretches across a few hours, and then you might remember to ask them something you forgot earlier. It's the extended period you play that allows you to have a better conversation than 10 minutes on the phone. Big night in. Major leaguers agree. In fact, their burgeoning friendships throughout the big leagues among players who have only met in Fortnite's lobby. I've never met Brett Phillips in person, Rays infielder Matt Duffy said of the Milwaukee Brewers outfielder who recently played a game of Fortnite on the Miller Park big screen. But I'd consider him a little bit of a buddy. For Phillies outfielder Aaron Altair, Fortnite is a game he plays all the time. That's literally all I do in the hotel. I'm not one of the guys who goes and walks around much. I'm a big room service and video games guy. That's the way I do it, Altair says. Altair estimates his longest Fortnite season was around 10 hours. It was during spring training, when the long days and quiet nights of Clearwater, Florida truly seem interminable. You play, he said. Get some food. Play again. Eichhoff said spring training was a key moment for the Phillies and Fortnite, as players emerged from winter to realize that yes, everybody was playing it. Or at least half the roster, he estimates. It was inevitable game and profession would intersect. In the season's opening series, Boston Red Sox shortstop Xander Bogaerts performed Fortnite's Take the L celebratory dance after reaching base. A few weeks later, teammate David Price deflected concerns that carpal tunnel in his throwing wrist came from excessive gaming, mostly Fortnite, doctors agreed. As McCarthy's Kansas City Royals launch a painful rebuild, he realizes there are few constants in baseball. He's grateful one of them goes wherever any of his friends may land. Everyone's from everywhere, he said. Relationships come and go. Since being with the Royals, I can't even count how many guys have been traded or are no longer playing. But we still have Xbox and PlayStation. So as I read that article, a few things occurred to me about why that's appealing for baseball players. Or I caught a few things from the article. Number one is that there are players coming and going all the time from baseball teams, and that's a way to stay connected. It's a way to socialize when you have limited amounts of time as a baseball player, but the time that you do have is generally in a hotel room, that's another benefit for baseball players of playing that. It's something to get your mind off of baseball. When you go and you practice all day, they say it's good to just go back to your hotel at night and have something else to do. Um, it's something that anyone can play. A lot of the times, these players are from all over the place, and it's a way to stay connected with people back at home. It's a way to make new connections with people, and it's a way to feel grounded. So, if you're wondering why they're writing this article about baseball players playing Fortnite, that's what I kind of gathered from the article. So here's the quiz. Number 1, read the section Minor Leagues Major Boon. So that section was way back here. Minor Leagues Major Boon. So if you go back and read that, it wants you to answer this question. Select the paragraph from the section that suggests some baseball players use Fortnite to relax and escape from daily pressures. So we're just focusing on which of these 4 options suggest that some baseball players use it to relax and escape from daily pressures. A, if you let baseball consume you too long, it can get overwhelming, says Nick Banks. He is a 23-year-old outfielder for the Suns and a 4th-round draft pick in 2016. The first thing I do after every game is go to my host family's house in the basement and start playing. B, the quiet guys who don't say much, if they do, well, in the video game, they get a little louder. Their personality starts to come out, says Suns reliever AJ Bogecki. They're not sure how to act, but when they get excited, they might tell us a little bit more. C, that includes a quartet of foreign-born players. Venezuelan Tomas Alastre is 19 years old. He is in his first full season of ball. Aldrin Corredor and Jainer Baez are also from Venezuela, along with Dominican Republic native Carlos Acevedo. They all have engaged in Fortnite. D, when you're on the phone, you lose your train of thought of what else you might talk about, and then the conversation is over, says Bugecki. Fortnite stretches across a few hours, and then you might remember to ask them something you forgot earlier. The second question. Which sentence from the article supports the idea that baseball players have even incorporated Fortnite into their professional baseball games? So where does it show that players in the rest of playing baseball, where does that show that Fortnite is affecting their professional career? Which of these 4 options? Just when I think I'm getting bored with it and I'm going to stop playing, I find that it keeps me going, said Philadelphia Phillies outfielder Nick Williams. B, Eichhoff said spring training was a key moment for the Phillies in Fortnite, as players emerged from winter to realize that yes, everybody was playing it, or at least half the roster, he estimates. In the season's opening series, Boston Red Sox shortstop Xander Bogaerts performed Fortnite's Take the L celebratory dance after reaching base. Or D, a few weeks later, teammate David Price deflected concerns that carpal tunnel in his throwing wrist came from excessive gaming, mostly Fortnite. Doctors agreed. So which of those shows that they're professional, meaning the actual baseball playing part of their life, is affected by playing Fortnite? Number 3. Read the following passage introducing Fortnite. The game is Fortnite. It is the open world co-op survival video game, and it may eventually be a footnote within baseball's zeitgeist. Right now, however, it has a hold on the game that stretches from college dorms to the basements of minor league host families, to the clubhouses and private jets and luxury hotel rooms of the major leagues. What does the author most likely want the reader to think about Fortnite based on the introduction of that passage? Based on the introduction passage? A, the author wants the reader to think that Fortnite is a game that is played only by rich people who can afford to pay for it? B, the author wants the reader to think that Fortnite is a survival game that has similar rules to the game of baseball? C, the author wants the reader to think that Fortnite is mostly for young people in colleges and a few adults like to play it? Or D, the author wants the reader to think that Fortnite is a popular game for baseball players that reaches at all levels of baseball. So think about, in that section, did they talk about just one level of baseball? Did they talk about multiple levels of baseball? Think about it. And number 4, what is most likely the reason the author included the information about Brett Phillips and Matt Duffy? So again, if you want to go back and use Control F to find their names, hit Control F. Your box will pop up. If you want to type in Phillips' last name, he was mentioned in the article twice, once there. Okay, so he was just mentioned once in the article. And then there's Matt Duffy. And if you want to type his name in, so you would hit Control F and type in Matt Duffy, and then you would find out what they said about him. So once you read those two things about those two players, why do you think they were included in this article? Was it to A, to show two players who have been able to keep in touch after one of them was traded to another team? B, to illustrate that it is common for Major League Baseball players to play on big screens in the ballpark? C, to highlight a Major League Baseball friendship that began online and only because they played Fortnite? Or D, to show that Fortnite helps people to come from different countries to feel accepted by their teammates? So you have to think about, what does this say about those two players? Okay, that is the end of that article and the questions that followed. I hope you guys are keeping up with it, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. If you forget my email or have lost it or whatever, it's rlofton, Loftin is Lofton, at wolves.k12.mo.us. All right, see you guys.